Okay, welcome in. This is a foundations, Anusara Yoga Foundations. And the idea around this is that we get to unpack and explore the different universal principles of alignment, see how they unfold into various categories of postures, and beyond that, how they open up philosophically through non-dual tantra, and also how the two combine to help us navigate life off of the mat. So as you take and refine your seat, let yourself really drop in. This beginning seated pose is a really important part of the practice. So we're going to just set the foundation here, open to the grace of being present with your breath. Let the fact that you have arrived in choice to enter the seam, the midline of who you are, be felt, be known, and be breathed. And the mind will wander, and see if you can just peruse that little smorgasbord of possibilities that are coming across your mental screen. And then find the place where you can enter in between perhaps an inhale and an exhale. And start to let the breath become more interesting to you. So there will be a little pause, a little midline between the inhale and the exhale. We can use this idea, this concept of entering the space between here and there, or the space between thought and no thought. Just become a little more fluid. And then draw your hands up to the center of your heart. And we'll let this outward gesture remind us that in utero, the first thing to form is your spinal column. It runs from the tailbone to the base of your skull, right in the very center of your body. And as you softly, sweetly press left and right fingertips, knuckles together, you'll find a midline between left and right channel of you. So as you open to the grace of your breath and become a little more interested and spacious in how you can slow down the fluctuations of thoughts, we'll use a second principle of Anusara Yoga, which is muscular energy. And today we focus on hug the midline. No big surprise. I've said it at least 10 times already. And to draw into the center of you is to acknowledge that you have a center and that you can take the periphery and pull it into the core. And this is a very advanced practice. So, relatively little external input to pull you in. In fact, there's so much out there that will pull you out. So make the choice, follow the breath in, feel your own palm left and right. Entertain yourself with the idea that you were born to know the midline because you were born through a midline. And we'll open up with this beautiful sound that calls us even deeper into the seam of being. And that's the power of Om. And as you offer the next 3 Oms, we'll really enjoy and delight in that liminal space between the two, where there's a slight pause, the Turiya state. a nice slow, deep breath in. Long, fluid breath out. Inhale again. Set your awareness right behind your eyes. Stay tucked inside the knowing that you know that you're present within who you are, even as you open your eyes to the outer world. And let your hands release. We'll come to stand in Tadasana at the head of your sticky mat, and we'll take a block between the upper inner thighs as you do. Oh, let that block just rest right up into the upper inner thighs. Pause and set your feet. So set the foundation. We'll come back to opening to grace and becoming present, honoring the breath, allowing the inner body to expand luminously from the inside to the outside, and then feel the muscles hug in from skin to muscle to bone. And now as you hug the midline with your feet squeezing, your ankles squeezing the midline, give that block a little hug and hold that energetic midline as you reach up and touch the sky. And no matter how far forward you need to take your fingertips, let the fingertips touch. So your neck might be too tight to bring the hands directly overhead, or you could do that and bend your elbows, but no tension in the neck. And with exhale, let the hands come back down. Draw a big circle around yourself. So inside this big circle is you. You're the center of it. And hold that awareness even as the breath and the arms move. And we'll do 3 more. Really toning the block, squeezing in. Your inner thighs might be getting tired. Just send that some breath. And let your shoulder blades find the middle of your spine even as your arms reach out and up and out and down. Bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees, and we'll take our first master pose called chair pose, and we'll unwind this pose throughout the rest of the practice. So Utkatasana, squeezing the block to the midline, open up to cactus arms. And now fall in love with your breath here. And even as you straighten your legs, pull the inner thighs to the block and pull up, making the upper calf muscles and the muscles right above the knees equal in strength. Hold the midline as you bend. Exhale. Inhale, pull up to straighten and lengthen. Exhale to bend. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, chair. Deep breath in. Press the hips back and the heart forward. Reach the hands down and touch the earth. Release your head. Pulling the feet and the shins to the midline. So anytime you have 2 body parts that have space between them, you can hug them in towards each other. So even though they don't touch, pull in. And same with your fingers. As you push your fingers down, energetically pull your wrists in towards the midline as you lengthen your spine. Pull this crown out and up, lift up halfway. And exhale, keep that energy pulling in between the wrists, even as you bend your elbows and bow in. Squeeze the block, inhale, reach up, Utkatasana. Toning to the midline, extend and reach those fingers way up, touch, arc it over to your left. Inhale, center, and over to the right. Inhale, center, holding midline, bow in, draw that big circle out and around, touch it down to the earth, hug into the midline with all the body parts, left and right, and then expand the spine out halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, reach up big and wide through the arms, toning in, touch the fingertips, and now take a nice deep seat. Utkatasana. Take your block away. Bow forward, touch the earth, and let that energetic imprint of knowing where midline is hold you here. Inner body bright, side body's long, lengthen halfway up. Take that block and place it lengthwise so that when you plant your hands for plank, you're not touching the block, but you know that there's a midline between the two hands. Bring your feet all the way together in plank and squeeze your ankles in. Honor that. Take the knees to the floor and squeeze the knees forward and in. Hugging the midline with your wrists, pull the heart out past the block. Chaturanga modified with the knees. Press down index finger and thumb to lift up. Press the inner thighs up and away from the floor for plank. Honor the breath. Inhale, knees to the earth. Squeeze the midline with wrists and knees. Exhale, heart forward, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up, modified plank, and then lift the inner thighs to plank. Bend the knees, lower down one more time. Hug the midline with your wrists like you were going to screw a lid off of a jar. Externally rotate the fingers without moving them. Wrists hug in. Inhale, lift up. And lift up to plank. Bend the knees, lift your hips. And deep breath in dog. Inhale, right leg up. Step it outside your right wrist. Bring your hand up to your front right thigh. And squeeze your ankle in towards where that block is, where your hand was. Honor that and twist. And think of your front leg like chair pose leg. Deep breath in, full breath out. Inhale and wind. Let your hand replace where your foot is for plank. And dog. Inhale, left leg up. Mindful placement, left foot outside left wrist, right hand, left hand to left thigh. Squeeze in towards the midline. So where's your spine? Pull even the back foot towards the midline if your tailbone was all the way as long as your back leg. And then hold that as you turn. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Inhale and wind, replacing your foot with your hands. Step to dog. And if you choose to hop, that's fine. If you choose to walk, that's fine. But let the breath hold you in the space between where you are and where you're going. So breathe your way forward, hop or walk, forward fold. Mindfully squeeze the midline as you lift to chair pose. We'll take that block and replace it so that when we twist, so our second teaching pose, if you will, in the sequence is twisted chair pose. And take your right hand to your upper right thigh, squeeze the block, push down through the right hand and lift that left elbow up. Twist it, squeeze the midline as you now place elbow to outer knee and find that midline. Press the two together, knee to elbow, elbow to knee, so you can stack your hands and deepen your breath. Inhale and wind. Reach up, touch the sky, big circle. Stop. Exhale, fold in. Make sure you've got one block on the left-hand side. Side body's long. Stepping right foot back, lunge. Turn the heel, warrior two. And just take your time. Honor where midlines are present between the back arch and the front heel is a great place to set your awareness. Tone in. And even though the arms are nice and wide, you can energetically hug the thumbs towards the midline between them as if they were magnetized. And then squeeze the shoulders towards shoulder blades towards your spine. Pull the front leg to straight. Deep breath in. Hold the power of the legs, triangle pose. And if you need your block, it's there for you. Deep breath in, long breath out. Placing right hand to hip. Pause in the transition to half moon and think about the midline more like the way magnets pull together. So that back foot steps in, magnetized. Hold the magnetic energy even as you root to rise. That lifted right ankle, endeavoring to squeeze down towards the earth. That will broaden the waistline. Now you can set your tailbone more strongly and turn more beautifully from left to right up in the upper body. Reach down through the legs, rise up through the right arm. Deep breath in, full breath out. Unwind your body to a standing split. As you're ready, inhale to chair pose. Exhale, Tadasana. Take your time. Take your time. Aware of you, where's the center of your being? Beautiful. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Set the block to the right side if you're using it for your standing sequence. Side body is long. And as you're ready, left foot back. Turn the heel, warrior two. Soften your mind and even your jaw, your tongue. Deepen your breath and use an inhalation. Inhalation affects muscular energy from the outside to the inside. So you can feel muscle hug to bone, feet hug to midline. Hold the midline as you straighten your front right leg and really lighten up and brighten up in the upper body with breath. Power up the midline, especially with left arch squeezing towards right heel as you dip it down. Trikonasana. Strong feet, deep breath. Strong feet, thighs spin back and wide. Strong feet anchor down, especially from the outer hips to the baby toes. Hold that energy as you bring left hand to your hip and honor that magnetized energy that pulls back foot in even as you rise up for half moon. Take your time. Press that lifted ankle down towards the earth as the baby toe spreads away from the earth. Inhaling, left arm up. Know where your spine is from tail to crown. Turn around the spine to come to standing split. Beautiful. And one long inhale, seated chair. One long exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, reach up. Do a little sun salutation. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, open. And hop or walk, plank to Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And love it up and Chaturanga to plank. Or if you're skipping that, roll through the knees to downward dog. 5 good breaths in dog. Inhale, right leg up. Step it forward outside the wrist. All right. Take 2 blocks. Straighten both legs. As you straighten both legs, try to scissor the upper inner thighs of each leg towards the other one. And that will help square your hips. Enjoy that. Feel that. Breathe that. Just scissoring the inner thighs, hugging the midline. Now anchor the tailbone a little more firmly. So tone the muscles right around the base of the tailbone. And as you push down through your hands, expand out from the hips, down through both heels, and then long through your spine, out through your crown. A little micro bend of the front knee and moving the blocks more forward. Set the heart forward and take a variation of flying warrior. Point your foot. So it's not flexed, it's not pointed. Squeeze the inner thighs, hug the midline. Holding the midline, take that right hand to your sacrum, right where the base of your spine is. Honor that, find your shoulder blades. Squeeze the midline between inner thighs even more and start to push down through, grounded foot, grounded arm, and turn a little bit from left to right. Deepen the breath and see if the heart wants to turn a little more above the navel. And maybe right arm stretches to the sky, so not necessary, but it's a possibility. Set it down, back foot, twisted lunge, big inhale. One long exhale, downward dog. And then it'll just feel easy, easy and easy. If you want to take a child's pose, go there. Otherwise, plank, Chaturanga, cobra, plank, and dog. Inhale, left leg up. Step it outside the wrist. Hold your 2 blocks. Straighten both legs. And just take the first little bit to, for me, cleaning my room or cleaning up anything is not something I'm like, oh, let me do that. I love that. That feels great. I'm gonna spend my time doing that. But just honor that anytime you create order, you open possibility. So within a giant circle, infinite possibilities, so full it's empty. Find the midline of the circle and pull into you. Honor that as you micro bend the front knee. Squeeze the midline even as you transition to a standing split or a flying warrior. Play with it. Find the midline, especially with that lifted inner thigh. Roll the thigh in. Toes point down. Squeeze the inner thigh, lift your navel, left hand to your sacrum. And now press out and down and out, and revolve around the spine. from right to left. Deep breath in, long breath out. One more breath. That heat will build on its own. Inhale, unwind. Set it down, twisted lunge. Big circle. Up and over, downward dog. Inhale to your knees. Exhale, child's pose. Full breath cycle here. Extend your arms out and wide. Press down through the finger pads, down through the palms, and draw the wrists into midline and push the hands down and back so the armpits float. Soften the muscles around your neck. Strengthen the muscles inside your core as you gently tone the knees towards the midline between. It's a very powerful extended child's pose, hugging into the middle and finding softness at the same time. Take it low and slow. Pull the hands down and the heart forward. And come all the way to the belly like a snake down on the ground. Let your forehead rest to the backs of your hands. Shake out your heels, your legs. Bend your knees and let the ankles and the shins move left and right. Little windshield wiper on the belly. And slowly roll to your back. Shrug your ears towards your shoulders. Pick up your head, set it back down. Tone your core with your exhale, tone the core muscles, and use the core muscles to lift your legs up. Hold your knees. And draw the knees together, all the way together. Spread your toes. As the knees come to 90 degrees over the hips, the lumbar curve will even itself out. Open the arms to cactus, and here's your supine chair pose. Lift the shins parallel to the ground. So knees over hips, shins parallel to the earth, arms open wide. And just breathe into your back body here and honor this is the easiest Utkatasana you'll ever do. And just feel your internal support aligning and finding what it feels like to be held in the power of your own grace. Smooth out and slow down and soften your Ujjayi pranayama. So it's just only as much Ujjayi breath as the demand of the pose is asking for. We'll take a slow mindful twist to your right. Hug the midline. Let the bottom knee hold the top knee all the way down. And now invite the bottom knee to gently press the top knee all the way up. And again, as you go to the left, the bottom knee holds the top knee all the way down. So we can use this really universal principle of alignment called hug the midline, knowing where midline is, to give the pose a little more grace, a little more power to the core, and then let that bottom knee hold the top knee all the way up. Set your feet on the earth, stretch your legs nice and long. And find your tailbone. Set your legs equal distance away from your tailbone, all the way down to your heels. Find your spine and your shoulder blades, and set the arms equal distance out from your torso. And as you take a nice releasing exhalation, releasing Ujjayi pranayama, just let the center of you hold the periphery of you. Melt into the back of your body, allowing the left and right side to soften equally from the center. And bring equal attention to the relaxation of your eyes, deep into the eye socket. Natural breath gets to hold you in this Turiya state, the space between. And you've got a couple more minutes to let your body receive, your nervous system soften, and to gently coax your mind into that space where the fluctuations of consciousness have receded into the stillness. Now start to circle out your toes and your ankles. And see if you can do that equally, left and right at the same time. And notice how that circular motion is going to affect the energy up in your hips and all the way from the hips to the crown. And this is a beautiful way to affect the sacral spinal fluid that moves from the sacrum to the skull. Switch the direction of your circle. And let the motion go. And softly opens up the energy at the base of the neck and into your heart plexus. Let out a deep, long sigh and start to pull yourself into the midline. So bend your knees, bend your elbows, and feel your spine here. orienting from internal awareness. Roll to your right side to a fetal pose. And soften, held. Use your hands, look down at the earth to come upright. Let your hips stay really heavy. And we'll come up to a seated pose, the same one that began your practice. And for me, this was the most potent pose of the whole practice. The one that began your practice now ends your practice, and yet the posture feels so vastly different. Rest in the flow of your breath. Rest in the awareness that you are held by a beautiful sovereign energy that draws you into the sacred place of you. And from there, you get to experience all that flows. Draw your hands softly to the midline. Bow your mind to your heart and your heart to your beautiful body. And we'll close with that Om and just really honor the source from where all things come. It's the midline we draw into over and over and over again in this practice. Deep breath in, loving breath out. Inhale. Namaste. Thank you. Peace be with you. Love you, love you, love you.